If you feel that nudge, you feel that oomph in your gut that you just gotta get going on something, your biggest mistake is to do nothing. So start taking action. Live your faith, build your business, and change your world. This is Live, Build, Change. Thank you for joining me and the Live, Build, Change community here on the Live, Build, Change podcast. We're here to live your faith, build a business, and change your world. I believe it can happen for each and every one of you. If you find yourself being that person who's just not content to work for someone else, if you find yourself wanting to know how to integrate your faith into your business practices more effectively, if you're the kind of person who wants to build something of your own, who wants to chart your own course, who wants to be creative and put something into the world that's of lasting value, then you have found the right podcast. The Live, Build, Change community, we love Jesus Christ, first of all, but we also love building businesses that can change the world, and that's what this is all about. Now, today, I want to talk to you about this idea I have. If I just described you in any of those little scenarios I just painted, the kind of person you are, if I just described you, then I want to tell you this. The biggest mistake you can make is to do nothing. Let me say it again. The biggest mistake you can make is to do nothing, to just let your life continue rolling on the way it is. And I don't know what that is for you. You may have a very good life right now. You may be totally happy in your job. You may love your family life. All that may be going really well. But if you've got that desire in you to build your own thing, to make a mark in the world with some kind of a business or some kind of a cause that changes the world for years and decades and centuries to come, then the biggest mistake you can do is to do nothing about it. You've got to get started. Action breeds success. Action is what breeds confidence. Action is what makes the ball roll. Now, I'm not saying you just go out there and ignorantly start throwing your net in the water trying to catch fish. I mean, a good fisherman knows where the fish are. A good fisherman knows what kind of bait they like. A good fisherman knows what it takes to actually land that big bass or that big catfish or trout or whatever it is. And if you're building a business, it's like fishing. You got to get started, but you got to know what you're doing at the same time. But all that what you're doing part, all the knowing what you're doing part can come later. I want to talk to you today just about that mindset, just about that willingness to step outside of your comfort zone maybe and start doing something. I believe we live in an age where technology and communications makes it possible for anybody who really wants to actually build a business that brings in money. And it can do so fairly quickly. My existing business right now, podcastfasttrack.com, if you want to check it out, that's my main source of revenue. That business is just barely over 3 years old, and it's already well into the six-figure range. Now, I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you that it's possible. That if you know how to study, if you know how to learn, if you know how to apply the things you learn, you can build a business that provides a valuable thing to your clients or customers, but also provides a significant income for you and your family. You can build that business, and as you do, this is what I've discovered, is that you start to get this new mindset as you start seeing success happen. You start realizing, hey, I could do more than this. I could do more than just bring money into my bank account. I could start allowing team members to come on and provide income for them, put food on their table. And I'll tell you, that's one of the things I love most about what I'm able to do. I have some contractors and some people who work with me on my team who I'm able to help put food on their table. I'm able to help them feed their kids, put shoes on their feet, put clothes on their back, put a roof over their head. I love it. I love that I'm able to do that. And Podcast Fast Track enables that to happen. But none of it would have started if I didn't get started. Because the biggest mistake is to do nothing. You see, I was kind of forced into it. I was in a place where I had to start figuring out ways to generate income. And we lived in this mountain town. We still do, very same place. And I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay there because I felt like it's the place we were supposed to be. But there was nothing around that could support my family. So I was backed into a corner. I had to figure this thing out. And in retrospect, I think that was one of the best things that could have happened to me because it made me start taking action. I had to move. I had to learn. I had to grow. I had to stretch. Because the biggest mistake at that point would have been to do nothing. If I'd have gone out and just got a minimum wage job or even a $12 or $15 an hour job, it wouldn't have met our bills. We would have dug a deeper hole, and we eventually would have had to have moved because we didn't have enough income. And I want you to think beyond income. I want you to think into what are the possibilities for what God could do with your life through building a business. I've told you back in episode 0, some of my dreams about the things I want to do. And if you haven't listened to episode 0, go back. It's livebuildchange.com/0. And you can hear that episode about my story and about what fuels me in this. And if you find yourself having that nudge that you want to build something of your own, you want to be able to set the course for your own company. You want to be the one who creates the things that are going to go out to the public and be sold or provide a service for others. You want to be the one who comes up with the ideas, who leads a team to come up with ideas. You need to get started. And the biggest mistake is to do nothing. What are some practical things you can do to get started? Well, first of all, you can do some research, and I recommend podcasts. Man, do I recommend podcasts. Let me give you some that I've listened to that have just served me to open up my mind to the possibilities. Okay, look up Late Night Internet Marketing. Okay, that's a great show. I don't even know what episode he's on, but he's been doing this for a long time. He's got all kinds of great ideas, and he shares his case studies and the things he's done to actually make money using the internet. Look up Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn. I don't know Pat. I've seen Pat at conferences and things like that. But Pat is just this really genuine guy who has just shared his journey as he's gone along. And you'll learn a lot from listening to Pat's show. There's another show. It's a little more advanced than those, but it's called Super Fast Business with a guy named James Schramko. James is from Australia, and he's used to be a high-powered Mercedes-Benz sales manager. And he got out of that and started online businesses, and he's doing so much better with his online businesses than he ever did selling Mercedes-Benz. And he tells you his story. He gives you practical things you can do to build a business. And another one, this one's more from a Christian standpoint, is the Chris Locerdo Show. Chris used to be one of the right-hand men for Dave Ramsey, if you know Dave Ramsey. Chris now is a business consultant and coach. And Chris shares, from a Christian perspective, his insights in many, many years of leading business professionals in how to build a business and how to get started. And it's well worth your time to listen. So podcasts are a great way to get started. Now, let me say about podcasts and about this next one I'm about to recommend, you need to be careful that you listen to a lot of things before you actually start doing anything, because you need to make sure the person is legit. There's a lot of people out there who aren't legit, who will sign you up for courses and take your money and all that stuff, and you really won't get much out of it. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful about that. But you don't want to wait too long. You don't want to just learn and die of information overload. You want to get going, because your biggest mistake is to do nothing. And that's the whole goal of this, is that you're headed toward doing something. Well, the next step, something else you could do, is just get on Google and start researching areas of interest that you have. Make money with fill in the blank, guitar playing, or make money with music, make money with engineering, make money with whatever, and see what comes up. Read people's stories, listen to people's stories on podcasts, and get an idea of what's possible. Now, I could just go through list after list after list of ways that you could build a business online nowadays. The technology is there. It is so simple in one sense to build a business online nowadays, but it's not easy. But the biggest mistake is to do nothing. So start learning. Start learning what it means to build a website. Start learning what it means to blog. Start learning what it means to have a podcast. Start learning what it means to do internet marketing or affiliate programs. Start familiarizing yourself with those terms and getting your brain around the idea of doing something on the side, perhaps while you're still doing your full-time job, that could then translate into a full-time business over time. But the point is this, your biggest mistake is to do nothing. If you feel that nudge, you feel that oomph in your gut that you just got to get going on something, your biggest mistake is to do nothing. So start taking action. I would love to interact with you about this. Go into the Live, Build, Change community. You can find it. It's on Facebook. It's at livebuildchange.com/FB. And if you're not a part of the community, just request to join. I'll approve your request. And you can come on to the community, begin talking with us about your ideas, talking with us about ways to get started. There's a lot of really genuine people in there who would love to be a part of your journey by encouraging you. So join up at that community, and we would love to brainstorm this together. It's part of why the community exists. So I just want to wrap up by reminding you, man, your biggest mistake, the worst thing you could do is to do nothing. Because you won't build more income if you don't actively go after building more income. You won't start to build a business if you don't start thinking about starting to build a business. You won't see things change in your life if you don't take steps to see them change in your life. You see, God is in this if you're a believer in Jesus Christ, but He's not just going to typically pour it all out on you and just bless you without you doing something to make it happen. He expects us to be involved in our own success. He expects us to work out our salvation with fear and trembling, and that is integrated into every part of your life. And so the biggest mistake you could do is to do nothing. I want to thank you for listening to livebuildchange.com. Would you stop for just a moment and think of one person who could benefit from this podcast like you are benefiting from this podcast? And then once you've got that person in mind, take the time to write them a personal email, write them a little text message, or even if you're listening on a podcast app, you can swipe right or left on that app and find a sharing function. And you can share this particular episode if you want with that person via text or email or whatever. And be sure to write a personal note with it to tell them why you're recommending this podcast for them, why you think it's something that'd be an encouragement to them, because that personal invitation can have a huge impact on that person. And I want to recommend to you that you do that. Don't think about blasting this out over social media, though you can do that if you want. That's not the point. Find one person God is leading you to share this with and share it with them. You could have a part in seeing their life change and seeing them live their faith more dramatically, seeing them build a business and seeing them become a tool in God's hand to change the world. It's time for you to go out and live your faith, build your business, and change your world. Hope to see you tomorrow on the Morning Mindset Edition.